there it is, the Pajero Evolution. Welcome back, guys, to another video, and what we've got for you today is, as you can see behind me, this is quite possibly one of the most special cars we've ever had on the channel. And alhamdulillah, we've had some awesome motors on there, but this has got to be one of the most special cars on there, in my opinion, and probably in the opinion of a lot of the followers as well. It's a Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution. Now, these things were 1998 this is, and only 2,500 of these were ever made for the Japanese market, and I'll run through a bit more of them details later on in the video. So yeah, do please watch the video. And yeah, it's such an awesome car. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the video, guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Performance Lifestyles. Check us out on Instagram as well, Performance_Lifestyles, and we're on Facebook as well, Performance Lifestyles. And if you'd like your car featured, drop us an email, pflifestyle@hotmail.com. The email will be in the description as always and on the bottom of the screen. So yeah, drop us an email and we'll be more than happy to get your car featured on the channel. But for today, we've got this epic Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution. Let's check it out. So here it is. Now, if you don't know what one of these is, these cars were quite literally produced for Mitsubishi to compete in, I think it was the T2 road-going versions of the Dakar rally. So in order for them to actually get onto the rally, they had to produce some road-going versions, and this was one of them, 2,500 cars that was produced purely for the JDM market. And it's such a stunning car. I mean, look at it. They've kind of like beefed everything up on the car. It features a 3.5 litre double overhead cam, 24 valve V6 engine producing 280 horsepower, which it's not a massive amount of power, but the thing is the car does weigh about 2 tons, and 0 to 60 times around 8.5 seconds, and top speed of about 130 miles per hour. But the thing is with this car is it'll do them sort of speeds on regardless of what terrain, sand, tarmac, gravel, whatever, it will do them sort of figures. These things are absolutely amazing. Such an amazing car, honestly, and I'm sure most of you would agree. This thing is, simply put, it is stunning. It's a beauty. You don't see many, if any, on the roads nowadays. And I mean, to get this car is such a blessing. It's such a beautiful car. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, the first thing that you probably notice is the beefed up arches on the car. They actually stick out a fair while, and if I show you from this direction, you probably notice it a bit more. I mean, just look at that. They've got the vents here. It's quite literally, and then the back arches flare out quite a lot more. I think that the track on them was about 4 inches wider than a normal Mitsubishi Shogun or Pajero. So, and then obviously you got the front bumper here. This is actually missing the Evolution decals, which do sit on the bumper, but the bumper's just been painted, so they will be put back on. And then obviously you got the bonnet vent, which it definitely needs. And these cars, honestly, it is a very short car, but it's a very wide and tall car. So parked up next to a normal car, this thing is like, it's tall. And obviously the engine does feature Mitsubishi's Mavic, which is similar to like a VTEC thing. And yeah, I mean, just look at that. You don't see these cars around, and you don't see anything that will resemble this sort of class on the roads nowadays. This thing attracts so much attention, and probably most of the people that actually look at it think, what on earth is this thing? What has somebody done to this? But it's an Evo. It's a Pajero Evo, and oh mate, I absolutely love this thing. The first time I actually seen one of these was probably when they first come out, not long after they first come out, but they were quite a rarity, and you never seen them on the roads, and this was on magazines and stuff. But to actually see one on the road, that was about 10 years ago when I first seen one, and fell in love with these things. So as you could probably imagine, it's like a kid in a candy shop for me at the moment. This thing is absolutely mental. So as well as obviously the redesigned front bumper, this little metal plate at the bottom here, just the bonnet, and then it comes with the standard mirror. This, I think all Pajeros have that. And then obviously you got your Evolution decals on the side here, little standing plates, and obviously your wider arches here, which same as the other side. So onto the back end of this, obviously you can see that the spoiler, the rear spoiler thing actually does start at the bottom here and goes all the way to the top across, and it's just like two fins. Probably difficult to see here actually, but yeah, two fins on the side, then the whole spoiler runs all the way across here. And obviously you do get the Mitsubishi spare wheel on the back as well, with the Evolution decal on the back. It's got quite a good amount of ground clearance, even though it's completely standard. There's nothing modified on this car at all. Mitsubishi motor, that's probably the garage in Japan that sold it, and I'm guessing that's got something to do with AC. But yeah, that's just my guess. I'm not fluent in Japanese whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, consider this car's 25 years old. It's a very tidy car. It's actually a very tidy car. Oh, the only aftermarket addition actually, which is the biggest thing on this car, is these wheels. Now, if I show you this one here. These are a set of CV928 Bridgestone alloys. Now I believe these are about as rare as Rocking Horse Poo, and they are split rim wheels. Standard size. Tyres are massive on them because they are an off-road sort of vehicle, and they are 16-inch alloys with a 265/70/16 tyre. So I mean, just look at that thing. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. It's not rapid, it's nothing like that, even compared to the SUVs that you could buy nowadays, your X3Ms and SQ5s and SQ whatever 7s and the rest of it. But don't get me wrong, they're very, very nice cars. But this, it's nowhere near as good as one of these. These things have just got something about them. Bearing in mind this is 25 years old and it still holds very, very strong value at the moment. They did actually, they were fairly cheap to buy about 5 years ago. You could pick them up for 10 grand, maybe a bit less than 10 grand. But to get your hands on a nice example nowadays, you're looking at paying over £20,000, and 20 grand for one of these. Some people think you're mad, but I personally think they're worth every single penny, and they will not be coming down in value at all, purely because of the actual the history behind them. They've got such a good history. These actually won more rallies than back-to-back rallies than the Lancia Delta Integrale, and that was in the car obviously league thing. But these won so many rallies, and they were just destroying them. Even in the road, the non-road version, they were actually hammering everything back in them days. So there it is, the Pajero Evolution. So if you ever decided you wanted to use your Pajero Evo for a shopping car, then there's plenty of space in here as well. So it's kind of like got all the features you want. You can seat 4 people in here comfortably, and you got plenty of space in there for your luggage or whatever you want to stick in there. And another cool feature with this thing is also the way the door opens. It's one of them, it's like a normal door. You've got a lever on the inside just in case you've kidnapped somebody and they want to open the door. So honestly, this is such a cool car. That is probably the best word to describe this car. This is such a cool car. So onto the inside. On this car, you actually have to use these actual plates to get up in, and the grab handles here, which is quite a good thing. They come with, let me show you from here, Recaro seats, and these were actually designed for the Pajero Evolution, and they are a very, very sort of hugging seat, very comfortable seat as well at that. And then obviously the one thing not a big fan of is this steering wheel, but that is like the standard steering wheel from a Mitsubishi Pajero. And then you get all of this fake carbon fibre sort of stuff here. All your little buttons and stuff have fog lights and folding mirrors somewhere around there, stalks and the rest of it. And this is the actual automatic version. So it's a 5-speed. So it's a 5-speed automatic car, and they did come in a manual, but the manuals were quite rare. But from reading up about a lot of these cars, the automatics were probably the better ones to go for, and they were the more desirable ones back in the days. And if I remember correctly, it was the autos that they used in the rally as well. Do correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not fully up to date on the complete ins and outs of these things, the history behind them, but I know they have got such an epic history and they are a legendary car. They will not be forgotten, put it this way, especially when it comes to Dakar rally fans and, you know, off-roading sort of cars. So, but yeah, and as you can see here, these did come with the Super Select four-wheel drive system, which is there, which is controlled through this second gear lever thing here. This is probably the first car I've ever driven in my life with two levers here. So, and then obviously classic style 9,000 RPM on there, which red lines at 7, and 180 kilometers per hour, which is a Japanese thing, so that's 112 odd miles per hour. This car has done about 90 something thousand miles, and this will be available actually for sale very, very soon, so keep your eyes peeled. It's a fresh import as well. It's only been here about 9 months, never been used on salty roads, so it's actually rust free, and it's actually a very tidy car. Bear in mind, 25 years old, so yeah. And then you get the compass here, which does come on when you turn the car on, oil pressure and your battery voltage. So these gauges actually do look quite smart as well. It adds to the whole character and, you know, the classic sort of look. These actually are, correct me if I'm wrong, but they are the same as an Evo 5.6. The actual temperature display here, the climate control thing. And then you get a touchscreen aftermarket, crappy stereo, which is probably no good in the UK anyway. Yeah, and then the back seats. You get two seats in the back with the armrests on the side. Matches the actual front Recaro seats, but there's no actual Recaro labelling on them, whereas the front ones do come with the Recaro seats label stitching and the actual this funky pattern, which is quite snazzy. And then obviously your airbag here and glove box here. So honestly, these cars are so good. It's actually a very, very good car to drive as well. Bearing in mind it's 25 years old, and we have got, I don't think we've got anything much older than this. We've got an E30 actually, yeah, E30 325i convertible on the channel, so do check that video out. But as far as classic cars go, I think this is the far better car. I know the E30 has a very, very big following, but the Pajero Evolution is more of a special car. Honestly, I absolutely love these, and I'm sure most off-road people who are into their classical sort of cars, this just brings back all their memories from my first car, you know. I had a Corolla GTI twin cam 16 valve as my first car, and it felt very, very old school to look at. Everything sort of like inside reminds me of one of them, and it's a beauty. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll show you under the bonnet, and then we'll go for a drive before it starts raining, because that was one of the things. I didn't want to use this car out in the rain because it's never been used in the rain in the UK. So check out the rest of the videos. Like I've said, we've got plenty of videos on our channel and all sorts of performance cars and some non-performance as well. So yeah, do check them out. And if you like what you see, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Performance Lifestyles, and check out the rest of our social media accounts, Instagram and Facebook as well. So there it is, the heart of this thing, the 3.5 litre V6 double overhead cam 24 valve, which is actually written, just noticed on there as well. So, and that is the 280 horsepower power plant. So yeah, everything is covered up underneath here, and this is the 3.5 litre V6 280 horsepower lump, and then you got your gearbox, I believe, dipstick, engine oil dipstick. Yeah, there's not really a lot to discuss under here, because everything is happening when you drive this thing. Such a mega car. So yeah, like I said, we'll go for a little drive and then we'll conclude the video. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and we'll catch you on the drive. So onto the drive of this Pajero Evolution. It honestly, if you've been driving for long enough, you'll know exactly what I mean. This thing does bring back memories. It is retro. This is the type of car that I probably, you know, the interior, the layout and stuff was probably of my first car. And like I mentioned, that was a Corolla GTI, and then, you know, after that it was a Swift GTIs and then the VTECs and stuff. But they're very, very similar to these things, and you know, the way the dials are designed, and there's nothing like it. This is a very analog car, and to drive one now in this day and age, after having driven many of the modern cars, this actually gives it that special feeling. It's such a beautiful car to drive. And for the size of the car and for the way it is, you'd actually expect it to be a bit not very responsive, but that 3.5 litre V6 engine under the bonnet is very responsive. It's like I said, it's 280 brake horsepower still, regardless of how old the car is. It's still going to be around there. It might have lost a few horses, but it's still going to be around 250 odd brake horsepower. And for a car that's, you know, this sort of size, it is just under 2 tons. But like I said, it's not designed to win any drag race times in this day and age, but it's still got plenty of poke for a classic, retro, cool car. The whole driving experience in this thing is good. The seats are, I think they're actually absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. This car wouldn't look good, wouldn't drive, I think it would affect the drive on it if it had Recaro bucket seats from, say, an Evo 6 or an Evo 5 or something, because these were around the time of a 4 or 5. But I think these are a bit more forgiving than an Evo Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution seat, the Recaro seats in them, but they are still Recaros. They've got a nice firm, I say firm, they're not that firm, they're like medium-ish sort of bolsters on the side, so they do hold you in place. And they just, they've even got an extending kind of like thing on the base of the seat. I don't even know what they're called. Steering wheel is big, but I think it's supposed to be big in one of these cars. Remember, these cars were designed on the off-road thing, so it is supposed to be big. And it's I actually really like this car. Really like this car, you could probably tell. Driving it through tight squeezes is actually a bit of a, you just got to make sure you know exactly where your corners are. And that little mirror on the front corner, the front wing, actually serves its purpose. It's kind of like lets you know there's the front end of the car on that corner, because it is quite a wide car. And it's not, I won't say it's firm, but it's not overly soft as well. It's like yeah, you do feel the rigidity in the chassis, because it is quite a rigid-ish sort of chassis. And I believe this is still running the standard suspension, but it doesn't feel overly firm. To be fair, I was actually expecting it to be a bit softer than it is now. So it's a bit firmer than I thought, but it's not as firm as it probably could be. This thing, just to put the height to perspective, it's actually probably a touch taller than a Range Rover Sport, and they're quite a big car. But this thing is a lot more special than a Range Rover Sport, because they are 2 to a penny. You'll see them everywhere you go. Literally every street corner has a Range Rover parked up. But a Pajero Evolution, I can honestly say you could drive around the UK for days on end, from the south to the north, and you will not see another one. Or if you do, you will be extremely lucky to see another one on the roads. And that is not because of how rubbish they are, because they are far from rubbish. They are such a mad car, such a mad car, and it feels very, very good to drive as well. So let's have a look. Yeah, I think 0 to 60 times will be about 8.5 seconds. Just from that you can see the gear change isn't like you'd get in your modern age sort of automatic cars, but it's not slow. It changes gear. There's no, I don't know, I've read a couple of things about how they feel a bit jolty, but to this moment in time, I've not felt the gear change being jolty, because it doesn't. It just smoothly changes gear. It's like there was nothing jolty about it. This is a car you could turn up to car shows, you could turn up anywhere, and I can guarantee you this will attract more attention than a lot of the more modern, more expensive, nicer cars that will be there. This thing just looks like it's on steroids, and a lot of people, like I said, will probably think somebody's just done a Evolution kind of like mod on their Pajero, or Shogun for that matter. But they will be wrong, very wrong, because this is a special, a rare, extremely rare car. I seen a white one, and I can't remember where it was, but it was a white one, and it was just, as soon as I looked at it, I thought, I was even stopped at traffic lights and the lights changed green, and I completely didn't even notice because I was too busy looking at this Evolution. This is how much I like these. These cars are very, very good. You look at your rear view mirror, all you can see is that spare tyre. And this is probably the first car I've driven with the spare tyre hanging off the back as well. It's like you're the king of the road in this thing. You are the king of the road in this thing. And like I said, not for power or performance or anything, just for sheer coolness. This will give you loads of brownie points, so get yourselves a Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution. And like I said, this car will be on sale in the very, very near future. So if you want to be part of the cool gang, get yourselves a Pajero Evolution. Get yourselves this Pajero Evolution. About as tall as that lorry that drove past. The steering is actually very quick, very sharp. A lot sharper than I thought. I knew they've got a quick rack in them, and I've driven many cars in the past with a quick rack, and they do make a massive difference, but I didn't expect it to kind of like transfer over into one of these, a car of this size and this height and this width and this type of car. But it does, the steering is sharp. It just goes to show, doesn't it? They were supposed to change directions quickly, and this does a perfectly fine job at that. Here we go again. Let's try it. It's fairly quick in manual mode. I find it felt a lot quicker in manual mode than it did in auto. And in manual mode, when the actual gear stick is all the way over there, it actually feels like it's quite far across the car. But you forget how wide this car is. Let's drop a gear. Yeah, you don't get no pops, no bangs, no nothing like that, boys. The V6 grumble is there though. You can hear it in the background, grumbling away at you, just to let you know. Oh, this is awesome. This is actually awesome. Especially when you start to open it up a little bit, it feels great. Alright then guys, I hope you enjoyed that brief, quick little video on this amazing car. Absolutely amazing car. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Performance Lifestyles. Check us out on Instagram, Performance_Lifestyles, and we're on Facebook as well, Performance Lifestyles. And if you'd like your car featured on our channel, drop us an email, pflifestyle@hotmail.com, and we will be more than happy to accommodate. But for today, this is it. And as per usual guys, stay safe, and we will catch you on the next video.